Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for this webinar called Cloud Academy for Change Management, Rules for Cloud-First Companies. My name is Stefano Bellazio. I'm the CEO and founder of cloudacademy.com, and I'm here today with Alessandro Fazan, that is our Head of Sales Global. And of course, we want to thank you for joining us, and let me quickly go to the agenda. So this webinar today is dedicated to tell you more about our experience working with large enterprises and large companies that are migrating to the cloud or are implementing a cloud-first strategy to implement cloud technologies. So a few things that we're going to see today together are, first of all, what's really the challenge. So this webinar is dedicated to manager executives that are thinking about cloud technologies and how to bring cloud technologies to their teams, to their companies. So we want to explain them what we learned working with top customers worldwide on the cultural change and technical change that is required. Then we're gonna see what are the steps. So what are all the ingredients that successful companies are applying to make sure that actually they can migrate their teams and their strategies to cloud. And finally, we want to share with you a few of the secrets that we learned on, how to speed up this transition. So how to speed up the movement to cloud computing for all the teams. So not only the technical team, but in fact, aligning the entire company in what is really, a cultural change, a technical challenge, and something that eventually will give your company a strong position as a cloud company, as a technology company. With that being said, we wanted to underline, what are the things that you're going to learn with this webinar today. The first one is why, the cloud implementation, while it seems something that is really technical, it's a cultural change first, and then it's a technical change as a second point. Then, why you need to adopt continuous training and usually a multi-cloud strategy if you want to succeed with your cloud-first implementation. And then, the third point is really, one of the most important ones is why, you need to start with management and your executive team, training them, and then, making sure that, in fact, they are aligned on what really means to go cloud, to cloud technology implementation. Alessandro, you want to add something else that you think you want to share from your perspective with our audience today?
Yeah, thank you, Stefano. Great introduction. Hi, this is Alessandro Fasana, Cloud Academy. I manage sales. I work for Stefano, and a couple of things. One, this is going to be we try to keep this webinar short. If you are interested about these topics and you want to double-click on any of these topics, please call us back, send us an email. We'd be happy to go in more details with with any of these topics and share with you what we've learned over the past 3 to 4 years. Yeah. Another thing, Stefan, maybe that I'd like to remind us is also we'd be happy to point the audience to a white paper that you also wrote, and that's also available and reflects the content of this webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that we're going to share with all of you that signed up for this webinar right after this session today. So you will be able to see again this recording, of course, but also get access to a specific white paper, as Alessandro mentioned, that we wrote with more information and more use cases about what we learned on this topic. With that being said, I want to really get started, and I want to tell you what we really learned, building Cloud Academy and working with some of the top companies worldwide that migrated to cloud and are using cloud with thousands of people in their teams. The very first secret for us was implementing a cloud-first strategy is a cultural challenge. So forget for a moment about the way companies are migrating to the cloud. So sometimes it's a hybrid strategy, sometimes it's a public or private cloud strategy or a mix of them. But the reality is that all of them that we've been helping at Cloud Academy. Started with a cultural challenge that is mostly solved with a change management approach, meaning that actually moving to cloud and restructuring somehow your company to be cloud ready is first of all a matter of changing the culture that you have inside your company and changing the culture that you have built over the past years, building software, building infrastructure and managing all of that. Change management is the approach that we have seen using at all these companies, and therefore we have always found someone that was leading this vision. So we never started working with a big customer that was going cloud or implementing cloud for all their entire workforce that didn't have a strong CIO, CTO, or a strong executive that it was in fact driving this vision. And the very interesting thing is that most of these companies are implementing cloud technologies for a few specific reasons. So the first one is of course that they understand that cloud is the next big step in their roadmap. But more than that, they understand that cloud is the best way for them to really become a technology company, no matter what are the industries that they're working in. So becoming a technology company for them and the ability to use cloud technology is in most of these cases that we've seen the best way to attract the best talents. So today we work with companies that are attracting talents that otherwise would go to really tech companies like Google or Facebook. So we usually see a strong CIO, a strong CTO that is driving the strategy, that is aligning his leadership team on why and what they need to do to go cloud, and then of course this goes to everyone else in the leadership team. But the most important thing is that change management is something that you apply with a specific strategy. So usually we see that the leadership team that is in charge of moving the company to cloud technologies select a few champions, so is able to transition a few initial teams, a few people at the beginning, and then will drive all the others. So usually you have a small amount of people that are very passionate about all that are very open to this change, to implement cloud, to really change the way they're working on it. And then of course with them really driving all of this, you have everyone else in your teams that is following them. And Ale, I think you can add a bit more based on your experience working with a few of our customers, what you have seen in this regard.
Sure. Thank you, Stefano. This is great. There are a couple of things that comes to mind. One is organizationally, these top-level executives, CIOs, CTOs that drive this vision. We saw a lot of examples, especially in the past year, where these executives team up with learning and development, with somebody in the learning and development team who has experience in change management. And these partnerships with the technical teams work really well. That's our experience. We've been in several vendor fairs at these customers, and it looks like as part of the vision, really having learning development and HR involved really helps and provide additional structure that helps with the change management. The other one that I think it's interesting is one of I like to provide a little bit on the business side. A lot of these executives have to deal with retiring data centers. And so the problem with retiring data centers is that the people working in those data centers might not have a job in 2 years or 3 years, but these executives, because they're so strategic, they figure out that cloud technology is also new, so where am I going to hire the people that I need? And so a lot of the engagements that we're working in right now with these executives have to do with retrain the workforce for these data centers that will be retired. One more thing, I think it's the fourth point is very good here. 25% is very good estimate. If we don't change management, there are 3 categories of people. There are the people that are the early adopters or the champions, and those are the people that we really want to identify as quickly as possible with any change management program or strategy. And then it's going to be another 50 or 60% of the people this will require the to see success from those early adopters. So teaming up with those early adopters and making them successful, also with the gamification infrastructure we provided at Cloud Academy, has proven very successful.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's great. So one thing that I want to add here is, on what really means to go to cloud technology. So from a technical perspective, of course, there is a few more things than just considering AWS or considering Azure or considering Google Cloud. In fact, we do see companies that are moving to something that is more DevOps and agile. So it's usually not just selecting a cloud platform or a few cloud platforms that actually you're going to use, but it's really about implementing processes and implementing a new way of building products, of maintaining your products, and that really fits into the area of DevOps and agile. So it's usually it's a cultural change, and it's a technical change that involves cloud technologies, of course, but also involves the entire team that is building products, that is building processes to manage that products, and it's usually about DevOps and agile. So it's not really about learning just AWS. It's really about moving the entire company to something that is also completely different from a process perspective. Let me go to the next slide, just because it's really connected to what we are saying here. So a lot of the companies that we are working with and we are helping, transitioning to cloud or implementing a cloud-first strategy, are companies that, as Alessandro said, are training new employees, but also are retraining existing employees. And that's really because they want to invest in a long-term approach that make sure that actually they give their employees the latest skills available in the market. And of course, they cannot risk the fact that their employees have not up-to-date skills when they manage such a big transition to a new infrastructure and to a new set of technologies. So we usually see continuous training be really the choice of large enterprises that are migrating to the cloud, just because they really need to make sure that they mitigate risk. And the best way to mitigate risk is actually making sure that they train all their employees or retrain them, and they understand that critical areas like security or critical areas like disaster recovery or backup or even networking are areas where they really need everyone to be trained and to be up to date with their skills. So it doesn't really make sense usually for these companies to say, well, let's have all our employees be certified on AWS or be certified on Azure, and then we are good with that. It's usually really a matter of organizing a set of workshops, organizing a set of continuous training activities to make sure that they always have all the skills that they need. And this is something that somehow we have seen as a new approach, just because it's the first time in the history that actually a large enterprise needs to keep their skills up to date as fast as they can with something like Amazon or something like Microsoft Azure that are changing every month. So it's important to understand that continuous training and also the fact that these companies are retraining people are really connected, and they're really part of the single strategy that they usually have in place. The other important component of this is that all the enterprise customers that we've seen are somehow going multi-cloud. That's not really something that they decide to do just because the pricing or just because of the lock-in. It's really because they really need to explore different opportunities. They need to explore different ways of building their products. And most of the times, they start using AWS for specific components of their infrastructure. Then they decide to go to Google Cloud, to Azure, or to other platforms, just because they have different products or they have different software capabilities that actually they want to combine with everything else. And of course, this is not usually the main reason, but they also see an advantage to mitigate risk with such an approach. So they make sure that actually if something happens to one infrastructure, to one provider, they actually can move their data to another infrastructure and to another provider. And that's really why they usually implement something that are really scenarios. So they really like to train their employees with specific learning paths or specific scenarios where they train them on several technologies. So it's not only usually AWS. It's really a long path that consider everything that they're using inside their strategy. Ale, maybe you want to talk about this. I think it's really connected to how to implement this strategy and how companies are using more practice approaches to cloud.
Yeah, thank you, Stefano. Yeah, this has to do with the experiential approach, right? Because it's you can take all the videos you want. Of course, the quizzes help a lot, and we can go in much depth there. But really, until we don't practice, we don't really fully know it. And this actually is something that we strategically started executing 2 years ago, and last year we got recognition from our customers that not only these labs, these hands-on labs provide the practice required to actually learn, but also for those who are also interested in certification was the reason why they were having the certification pass rate of success that they've seen. We've been investing. We already have a large library of content for hands-on labs. This is growing. Stefano, if you want to give some information about our roadmap after this slide, would be great. Given that I saw an update yesterday, and that's pretty impressive. And these hands-on labs are included in the enterprise subscription. In order for the hands-on labs to work, we need to also provide a console, and this is where the neat features of Cloud Academy comes in. We provide a full-feature AWS and Azure consoles. We will work also on the Google Cloud Console shortly, where your employees can practice everything that they learn with our courses and beyond. Why this is important? Well, these consoles are safe and secure sandboxes. So what we keep hearing from our customers is that in order for any employee to have access to an AWS console, for instance, these employees need to provide a business justification to an IT manager or an IT director. And this is a common protocol in the industry because there are security concerns, there are also cost concerns. What we learned is that by providing Cloud Academy to a large number of users at our enterprise companies, even Scrum Masters that typically have a hard time coming up with these financial justifications now have the opportunity to practice AWS with Cloud Academy using a real AWS console. Again, these are real, fully featured, unadulterated sandboxes, if you will. There's not a simulation. It's not an emulation. These are the real consoles, and they are not in your network, so your employees can practice safely outside your corporate network, and we take care of security and cost concerns. As I mentioned, this AWS console, Azure consoles are part of your enterprise subscription.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for all of this. So Hands-on Labs is, something that is really a focus for Cloud Academy this year. We are envisioning having more than 200 labs available by the end of 2017. And, today you can find the Cloud Academy AWS labs and Azure labs. But really, what we're going to do from here through the end of this year is actually publishing more labs that are covering also Google Cloud platform, but also a lot of labs that are touching into DevOps, into a few other tools that actually we see used on top of AWS, on top of Azure. And even today, if you go to cloudacademy.com/labs, you can really see that in our library we do have labs that are really building scenarios. So your team has the ability to understand how AWS work, but also to understand how to build specific solutions inside AWS or inside Azure using our labs. And as Alessandro said, Hands-on Labs are included for all our enterprise subscriptions, and also we are launching a few dedicated labs that will be available only for enterprise customers. So we're really building a few scenarios that will be really key for enterprise customers. We will really be able to speed up the way that teams implement new software on AWS or other vendors using these somehow tutorials, if we want to call them this way.
Stefano, do you want to give us some information about the number of labs that your team is working on?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, we are envisioning having more than 200 labs by the end in our library. And we're starting publishing more than 10 dedicated labs to enterprise subscriptions. So that's something that is really exciting for us. I think every month we're seeing new labs going live, and that's something that, of course, you can check in our roadmap or at cloudacademy.com/library. Let me go quickly to the last point before we give you a quick demo of Cloud Academy, and and a few specific inputs on this topic today. So one of the things that we have been working at all the companies that we have been working with in the last couple of years is actually making sure that your leadership team knows about cloud, and it doesn't have to know about the specific technical things on cloud technologies, on AWS, on or Azure, but the leadership team usually is the one that is defining the strategy, defining the vision for going cloud. So they really need to go through a training that gives them everything that they need to understand to make decisions. It might be starting from something like what's cloud computing and why cloud computing is becoming such a big priority for companies, to something that is more specific, like a comparison of all the most important public cloud platforms to help your leadership understand where they need to put their investments. It might be something that is more on the DevOps side. So we do have content, for example, that we built for executive that is introducing them to the concept of CI and CD, for example, so continuous integration and continuous development. And even if that's not technical, so we don't dive deep on those terminology and every technicality is behind that, they still are able to grasp why they need to implement something like that, what's the best strategy to implement something like that, and they have all the fundamentals to make decisions and to understand what's the impact on their business, right? What we've been doing in the last year is really developing a set of learning paths that are dedicated to managers, to executives, and in general, I would say to people that are non-technical. So even people that are working in the sales department usually, and they need to understand these technologies. And we have seen companies really promoting them to their executive teams, making sure that actually they're aligned, making sure that everyone knows what DevOps is, what Agile is, and plus they also know what's really the strategy. So why this is so important, and why everyone needs to go through this. Sometimes we've seen other companies that didn't do something like this failing just because leadership didn't really understand why cloud is such more than just technical change. And the companies that are usually driving this and have a 3 to 5 year vision to move to cloud technologies, all of them are using this approach with their leadership team. Ali, again, if you want to add here something more, I'm really happy to have you tell our audience a bit more.
Yeah, I think we covered this pretty well. Stefano, I don't have anything else to add here. This is a good summary.
Okay. Perfect. So let me show you, connecting to this point, I want to show to our audience a few of the things that we've been building for executive audience. Perfect. So as I was saying, we do have a few specific single courses that are usually an hour long, that are introducing non-technical people also to specific concepts, like in this case, Introduction to Operations is really a course that help people understand what's availability, what's scalability, what really means, monitoring when we talk about, cloud operations and cloud infrastructure, and anything else is a concept. Of course, your people don't need to understand everything about it, but they need to have, at least an introduction to it. And the same thing is, of course, valid for DevOps. So I want to show you a great learning path that we have on DevOps. That is a big introduction to what DevOps means, and it gives you a complete understanding of the DevOps fundamentals. In this case, as you can see, it's almost 8 hours of content, so it's a lot, but it's great because actually you can get an introduction to continuous integration, to continuous delivery, and you get all of these from a business perspective. So you understand also what are the impacts of something like this for your business. Inside the library, as you can see, you can find all the other content that we mentioned today. So, for example, Anson Labs, something that is available here. And as I said, every month we publish new content. As you can see, if I go to our accounting content roadmap, you can see that actually we have new content that is going live. This is another great learning path that we are working on, that is migrating to AWS. So in this case, we are providing everything a company needs to migrate to AWS to structure the initial steps to do that. And that's really what we have for today. Let me go back to the presentation. Let's see if you guys have any questions or any comments. We are here to reply to them. Okay, so the first question that we have is, can you talk about the role of certifications for teams moving to the cloud? Ale, you wanna take that questions and touch base on certifications and what we have seen so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, we see a very high correlation with certification success among our enterprise customers. We see around 80%. Our consulting customers have a higher pass rate, probably because of the motivation of the employees, but nevertheless, 80% is considered very high in the industry. Again, when we go and double click on, what was the reason of the success, we always hear that the quality of the content for Cloud Academy, the quizzes, the way the quizzes are structured, and the hands-on labs are the winning combination to secure this type of success rate. We have all the certifications available in the learning paths available in our library. So we have the associates and the professionals, and we are about to release a few more from Amazon Web Services. We have certifications also for Azure. Consulting companies were the first ones actually to use them last year when Microsoft released the certifications. I think it was August or September 2016, and these are also very well utilized by our customer base. Another thing that we do sometimes, something special for enterprise customers, we do some joint webinars. These are private webinars or workshops. And if there are questions about the certifications, we also host this on premises, and we have the conversation with hundreds or a few hundreds of users that the enterprise customers want to get educated and prepare for certifications.
Thank you, Ale. So the other question that we have from Paul is, do you have a dedicated curriculum for enterprise customers? We don't, in fact. So we don't have a single dedicated curriculum that we suggest to enterprise customers. Most of the time, it's a matter, really building a strategy together with our team, with our content team, and with our customer success team, making sure that actually we help that customer building their own curriculum, starting from the content Cloud Academy has. On top of this, I wanna add a quick news. So we are launching a new feature that will allow enterprise customers also to personalize their content and personalize their learning paths inside Cloud Academy. So that's something that really, I mean, work together with the leadership team usually, and we work together with the tech team usually to make sure that we build a curriculum together, and then we use Cloud Academy to deliver that curriculum. And that's something that our enterprise customers are doing almost every month with our customer success team. So they make sure that actually they touch base, they're looking into what users are enjoying, or what users are looking for, and then we adapt the curriculum to that. Okay, I think we don't have other questions. Okay, one more. What do you offer for Azure security? There are not a lot of resources focused on this. Let me know. What do you have? So, as Alessandro said, we do have a specific set of content for Azure. We have been really investing more and more in building content for Azure, as the enterprise customers are demanding more of that. I think we have today 3 to 4 different learning paths for certifications on Azure, and we do have also dedicated labs and a few thousand questions dedicated to Azure security on our library. So that's really what I encourage you to do is go into our library under the Microsoft Azure section and dive deep on all the content that is available. Okay, we don't have other questions. So I wanted to thank you, all of you that joined us today for this webinar. As I said at the beginning, it will be available as a recording, so you can watch this again. But also, together with that, you will also get a link to a special white paper that we built with more information about this. If you go to cloudacademy.com/enterprise, you will have the ability to download a few more information about our enterprise version. But also, together with that, you can request a free trial for 2 weeks to make sure that actually your team can start enjoying Cloud Academy and you can start, considering Cloud Academy for your organization. Thank you so much again, and feel free to reach out us at sales@cloudacademy.com if you have more questions. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you, everybody, for your attention.